This is a new Galaxy Z Trifold, and after having some hands-on time with it, this is without a doubt my favorite phone, probably of all time. Now, a lot of people have already talked about the specs on this phone, but I want to share a different perspective. I've been a pretty hardcore user of foldables for the past few years, and I've made quite a few videos about using phones to replace laptops, as well as other unique use cases for phones. And this, the Trifold, is without a doubt the closest we've ever gotten to having a phone that also works as a tablet and a laptop in your pocket. So before I talk about my thoughts on the hinges and the display and everything like that, I want to talk about 7 different ways you can use this phone. First of all, for example, you can unfold it all the way and then halfway fold one panel to 90 degrees and it acts as a tripod. So you can film vertical content while seeing on the front display, like what you're filming. You can take photos, you can film things like this. And I think it's really useful and it's something that you couldn't do on any other phone. Secondly, you could do the same thing, but in landscape. So you could rotate it 90 degrees and now you're able to film horizontal content like this, but filming it on your phone while still seeing what's in frame and what's not in frame. Number 3, you can unfold it fully for rear camera usage, but I feel like I can't reach the button with this. I can't reach the shutter button because it's in the middle of the 3. So really what I recommend doing is unfold it all the way and then fold one all the way back in. So it kind of looks like what we saw in number 1, but now you're able to hold it and kind of have a nice grip on there as well. And you can reach the button much more easily. For my testing with this phone, it seems like for some reason you have to unfold it all the way and then fold it back in to get this to turn on the rear display for photos. But I mean, maybe eventually you'll have an update where that step's not required. The 4th format, of course, is just fully closed. This phone is definitely clunky, but many say it's thinner than the older Z Fold models, like the Fold 6, for example, which is not even, it's like 18 months old. But honestly, after holding the Fold 6 here, I remember why I didn't really use it. Like, it's a really chunky phone and a weird narrow aspect ratio. So from the front, I didn't like the Fold 6 that much. But I have to say, after holding the Trifold here, I think it's absolutely worth it. It's not super heavy. It feels like I would get used to it. But if you're wearing something like gym shorts, yeah, it's totally going to weigh your shorts down a little bit. And the phone case is a little bit tricky on this. The phone case only really covers the back and the hinge. And then when you open it, the edges are not really covered, which kind of makes sense. It's going to be like that no matter what if you have this style of fold. But the outer display is 6.5 inches. It's full HD plus, so a little bit of a compromise there in the resolution. And it is, as I said, kind of tall and narrow, much like the Galaxy Z Fold 6. It is, however, 120 hertz, and considering that about 75% of my usage on the Fold 7, which I absolutely loved as a phone, was on the outer display, this is going to probably last a really long time with 5,600 milliamp hours in the battery. Now, I suspect on the Trifold, I will almost definitely be using the inner display a lot more, but I mean, the battery is still pretty impressive considering how much is packed into this phone and how thin it actually is for a tri-folding phone. Like, the thickness is almost at the absolute minimum. It's really like the USB Type-C. I don't know how you could be any thinner and still fit that in here. The 5th way to use this phone is, of course, fully open. The inner display is massive. It's 10 inches. That's the reason you're getting this phone. You have small black bars on the top and bottom if you're watching 16:9 media, but significantly less than you're getting on the other folding phones, which are just a square when you open them and basically have no advantage for watching media. This is a dynamic AMOLED 2X display, 120 hertz adaptive down to 1 hertz, and 1600 nits peak brightness. So the display looks amazing. You do have 2 creases, but as with any folding phone, I find that especially when the crease is vertical, I kind of just stop seeing it. I become blind to it and it doesn't bother me at all, especially when you're looking at it straight on. If you're always looking from an angle, like, yeah, you can catch a glare, but I don't think anyone's really doing that. And I'll talk more about what it's like to really use this in the open format after I use it for a while. But I mean, I could just imagine like sitting on a plane, bringing this out and watching a movie on there would be a great experience. If you're trying to get some work done, multitask, you can do that and now actually have like 3 or 4 apps open very realistically and, multitask between all of them. Whereas on a Fold, you could open up 2 apps really well, and that was already a huge positive. A 3rd app or just a large app and a small app, this really expands the opportunity with this phone. And I was kind of debating, is this the right way to have a folding phone, or does it make sense to make it literally like a Z, as I think Huawei did, or someone else did that a couple years ago? And I think that this is definitely the better way to do it because the inner display is kind of soft, like it needs to be flexible. And if that is on the outside of your phone, that's very likely going to get damaged. Having it on the inside entirely is much more protected, and I think that's better for durability. And there's already a lot of UI benefits inside this phone, such as, for example, if you're editing a photo using the Galaxy AI to like circle and remove an image, and then if you want to see like side by side before and after, it shows you both of them and you can zoom into exactly the spot you edited and it zooms in on both photos to the exact same spot. So just kind of cool UI features that they're only going to get more expansive, but even at start, because Samsung makes tablets, it's already a relatively mature operating system. It feels like it really belongs. But I did find some browser interactions, for example, some websites where you're kind of halfway between phone and desktop and it didn't quite look optimal. Use case number 6 then, different way you could use this. A lot of people forget this, but you can unfold it and use it vertically while it's fully open. And it gives you like a newspaper or like a magazine type experience. And I could see this being great for anyone using the Kindle app for reading or blog posts or news or different things like that. Having it vertical just felt really nice and really natural. And then, of course, number 7, last but not least here, probably what I would be doing or most excited to do here is use it fully open in DeX mode. So you can switch in DeX mode just like you can on a lot of Samsung tablets, and you can put it on a stand. So you can connect a keyboard and a mouse by Bluetooth, and you can open up to 5 apps, work simultaneously with them. I've made several videos about DeX in the past. I'll put a link on right up here so you can check out the latest one, but this is potentially a game changer. If you're traveling on a train or a plane, you have a small tray table, or if you just don't want to bring, a tablet or a laptop, it's kind of a nice backup. And if you plug into another monitor, whether that is like your extra monitor at work, like you forgot your laptop, or maybe if it's like a TV in a hotel room, you can have an extended display. So you have 2 different displays. And because this is running a Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy, very powerful. It's not the latest Snapdragon, but still definitely going to get the job done. This is also right now in South Korea, 16 gigabytes of RAM and either 512 or 1 terabyte of storage. So quite a bit of storage on here as well. The cameras, I was worried about them. They are the same as the Z Fold 7. So 200 megapixel wide angle lens. That's really solid. But the other 2 are a little bit of a compromise. 12 megapixel ultra wide, kind of just good enough. And then 10 megapixel telephoto, which I think is a little bit of a weak point for this, as most folding phones kind of are. I really like having a good telephoto lens, and this one's just going to be okay. 10 megapixel selfie lens on the screen cover and the inside screen. Some other things to note, somehow Samsung still managed to fit 15 watt wireless charging, 45 watt wired charging, and so that should give you about 50% charge in about half an hour. And they still have wireless power share in here, impressively considering how thin this phone really is. As far as durability goes, IP48 water and dust resistance is very impressive in my opinion. So Samsung's definitely pretty good at the actual hinge hardware. But I did break my Fold 7 and I suspect it was from using it in very cold temperatures. So bending a display, cold temperatures. It's not rated for that temperature, so it definitely was my fault. But I sent it to Samsung for a teardown. If they get back to me on why that actually broke, I'll definitely make a video on Instagram and on TikTok with the results of what they told me. So be sure to follow me at Mike O'Brien with 2 N's, because Mike O'Brien with 1 N was taken. It's a really common name. Anyway, getting back to the phone though, the back of the phone is a ceramic glass fiber reinforced polymer. Basically just means reinforced plastic. So it's a plastic back, which obviously gets a ton of fingerprints on here, probably helps to keep the phone a little bit lighter, but it's not the most premium feeling back. To keep it lighter, I think that's okay though. I'll give them a pass on that one. There is a lip on the side to make the panel easier for opening, and otherwise, this phone seems to be really well built. It's a first generation Trifold, but it doesn't feel like a first generation Trifold to me. The only downside is it's a little bit thick in my opinion, and other than that, I'm really excited to use this. If you want to see more, like maybe a 1 month later review after I use it for a while, be sure to subscribe to the channel and drop any questions down there. Let me know what I should do with this. Should I replace my laptop? Should I try filming with this? What do you want to know about this phone? I'm really excited to make that content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in that next video.